You're listening to Don't Miss This on Paris Underground Radio. Hello, and welcome to Don't Miss This, your weekly roundup of the best of what's happening in Paris this week. I'm your host, Jennifer Garrity, the creator and founder of the Paris Underground Radio podcast network, featuring podcasts on a wide range of topics that come out 6 days a week and are made for people just like you. Please take a quick moment to subscribe to Don't Miss This if you haven't already, and check out the parisundergroundradio.com website to sign up for our weekly newsletter. This week's edition of Don't Miss This covers the week of Sunday, March 20th through Saturday, March 26th, 2022. This is a week with a lot of good intentions, a lot of pro this and anti that. So let's grab our biggest placards and whip out our pithiest slogans and get into it. No one wants to save the world on an empty stomach, so let's head first to Montmartre for the 14th annual Fête de la Coquille, or the Scallop Festival. Over the weekend of March 19th and 20th, the fishmongers of Saint-Brieuc, the second largest scallop bay in France, will showcase their products and their expertise. 150,000 tons of scallops are consumed by the French every year, which comes to 4.85 kilograms per second. And between workshops, sea shanties, and cooking demonstrations to learn how to simmer scallops in all their forms, you can wander this fish and seafood market and indulge in free scallop tastings. I hear the ceviche from Pez is particularly delightful. To round out your palate and tantalize your taste buds, you'll also find cider and crêpes among the exhibiting stands. La Fête de la Coquille will run through March 20th at Place des Abbesses, and more information can be found at cotedamour.cci.fr. That's COTESDARMOR.cci.fr. One of this week's monikers is the Semaine Parisienne de lutte contre le racisme et l'antisémitisme, or Paris Week for the fight against racism and anti-Semitism. This Semaine Parisienne is actually a little longer than a week, lasting from now through March 28th, and there are a number of conferences, shows, exhibits, and festivals organized at museums and associations throughout the week, some of which we'll speak about a little bit later. The Holocaust Museum and the City of Paris have organized a number of remembrance trails, including a musical and literary tour, a tour in memory of the Belleville Roundup, daily Jewish life tours of Belleville, the 20th arrondissement, and the Marais, a tour of Little Istanbul following the footsteps of the Judeo-Spanish in the 11th arrondissement, and a tour following the footsteps of Hélène Baird, accompanied by readings from her journal during the Paris occupation, among others. You'll find film screenings and debates on films like Coexist, I Am Not Your Negro, The Best of Enemies, Voix des Migrantes, or Migrant Voices, Noirs en France, or Blacks in France, the pilot of the series Bossa Nova, and the mini-series #ReactAsie, or React Asia, among others. For a full listing of events for the Semaine Parisienne de lutte contre le racisme et l'antisémitisme, please visit paris.fr. While there is still a frost in the air, the orange Saharan sand has blown away, and that's reason enough to celebrate. Well, that and the fact that the Printemps du Cinéma is back after a 2-year COVID-infested absence. This year, from Sunday, March 20th through Tuesday, March 22nd, all films in partner cinemas are only €4. This €4 price is for all films regardless of release date, indie, or blockbuster status, although 3D films and special screenings may come with an additional cost. Now's your chance to see The Batman, Belfast, and Murder Party before the Oscars next week. Printemps du Cinéma will run from March 20th through March 22nd, and more information can be found at printemps-du-cinéma.com. That's PRINTEMPSDUCINEMA.com. Sunday, March 20th also kicks off a number of events in support of Ukraine. The first of these, the Concert Solidarité Ukraine, the Solidarity Concert for Ukraine, will be at the Opéra Comique. During the day, the center will be open to visitors, and during the evening, they will throw a concert to raise funds in support of children in Ukraine. This concert will begin at 7 p.m. and is scheduled to last an hour and a half. Tickets are €10 for open seating. All proceeds will be donated to UNICEF. UNICEF has been in Ukraine for more than 25 years and is currently deployed in 4 regions throughout the country, as well as in all neighboring countries. They stand ready to help refugees, to provide people with access to water, health care, essential equipment against the cold, and psychological support for trauma avoidance in children. The next day, Monday, March 21st, the Odeon Théâtre de l'Europe, along with the participation of the Institut Français and in partnership with France Culture, has organized an evening of support for Ukraine. At 8 p.m., French and Ukrainian artists will perform a reading of the never-before-seen-in-France play Mauvaise Route, or Bad Roads, as well as contemporary Ukrainian poems. Mauvaise Route was written in 2016 by the Ukrainian playwright Nataka Vorozhbit and recounts 6 stories about the relationships between men and women as they flee along the dilapidated roads of Donbass at war. The play is based on real testimonies gathered by the playwright and celebrates life in all circumstances. The playwright herself and her translator will be in attendance. Tickets are €20, and the proceeds will be entirely donated to the Red Cross for actions in support of the populations affected by the crisis in Ukraine. Lastly, on Tuesday, March 22nd, the Parisian Latin Cabaret is throwing a soirée exceptionnelle de soutien à l'Ukraine, or an exceptional evening in support of Ukraine. This multicultural troupe, including Russian and Ukrainian performers, will throw a concert at 8 p.m., followed by a L'Oiseau Paradis review at 9:30. A seated dinner with a menu by Guy Savoy is included. The Soirée Exceptionnelle du Soutien à l'Ukraine dinner show is €100, and all proceeds will be donated to Ukrainian humanitarian associations. For more information on the Concert Solidarité Ukraine at the Opéra Comique, please visit opera-comique.com. That's opera-comique.com. For more information on the Soirée de soutien de l'Ukraine at the Odeon Théâtre de l'Europe, please visit théâtre-odeon.eu. That's THEATRE-ODEON.eu. And for more information on the Soirée exceptionnelle de soutien à l'Ukraine at the Parisian Latin Cabaret, please visit paradislatin.com. That's PARADISLATIN.com. We turn back now towards the Semaine Parisienne de lutte contre le racisme et l'antisémitisme, and settle into the Allée des Justes in the 4th arrondissement, where Le Mémorial du Shoah, or the Holocaust Memorial, will present an open-air exhibit on the genocides of the 20th century. This exhibit will feature a set of panels analyzing how commonplace genocide has been in the last century, through a rich selection of photographs, archives, and testimonials. In chronological order, you'll discover the destruction of the Armenians during the Ottoman Empire, the Jews in Europe, and the Tutsis in Rwanda. The genocides of the 20th century will be on display beginning Tuesday, March 22nd, and more information can be found at memorialdelashoah.org. That's memorialdelashoah.org. Le Musée de l'Histoire de l'Immigration, or the Museum of the History of Immigration, takes it one step further with Le Grand Festival, which is an anti-racism, anti-Semitism, and anti-LGBTQ+ hate festival that will run from March 24th through the 27th. In honor of the diversity of its guests, the 6th edition of this festival will feature stand-up shows, concerts, dances, plays, workshops, slam performances, ciné concerts, a big Afro dance ball, and more. Le Grand Festival will run from Thursday, March 24th through Sunday, March 27th, and is completely free to attend. More information can be found at histoire-immigration.fr. That's HISTOIRE-IMMIGRATION.fr. From one Grand Festival to another, let's travel a little farther north into the Parc de la Villette for the 5th edition of 100%, or 100%, a multidisciplinary artistic festival, which runs from Friday, March 25th through April 30th. What can you find at this 100% artistic festival, you ask? 100 national and international artists will be sharing their latest creations with you in a few different ways. There's an exhibition component called 100% l'Expo and a show component called 100% spectacle. At the 100% l'Expo, La Villette has given carte blanche to more than 50 artists and contemporary installations designed by plastic designers, videographers, filmmakers, stylists, photographers, architects, and performers from France and beyond will blanket La Grande Halle and La Folie, and even the park itself. As for 100% spectacle, great new figures of theater and dance, from urban dances with Linda Hayford to music by Nosfell, to the realism of Tommy Millett's play performed by his company Marais, to the hip-hop of the Femme Fatale trio and the 11 dancers of the Maselfretten Soutenu group, and everything in between. 100% will run from March 25th through April 30th. All the exhibitions are free, and the shows start at €8. More information, including programming and ticketing, can be found at lavillette.com. That's LAVILLETTE.com. Have you always dreamed of owning a place in Paris? If you're planning on moving, renting, buying, or selling a place in France, you'll need the expert guidance of Gaëlle Boisclair and Marie Pistinier, hosts of the Paris Estate of Mind podcast. Listen now to Paris Estate of Mind on parisundergroundradio.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be right back with Don't Miss This after a word from our sponsors. And now, back to Don't Miss This. Now, let's take to the streets. The Lavomatic and Spot 13 have invited stencil artists and collagists to express their support for the Ukrainian people during an exclusive live painting in an event called Les Marches de la Paix, or Peace Marches. As I'm sure you know, some bright and bold street art has been popping up in Paris since the beginning of the invasion of Russian troops into Ukraine. On Friday the 25th, Saturday the 26th, and Sunday the 27th, street artists are invited to create their art in front of the public during an exclusive live painting. These messages of peace and love will be emblazoned on the staircase between Boulevard Jean-Simon and Allée Paris-Ivry in the 13th arrondissement. Les Marches de la Paix will be held live from March 25th through the 27th and is free to attend. For more information, search for Spot 13 on Facebook. From the street to the surreal, let's take a closer look at one artist. Marie Chamanova, better known as Toyin, was born in Czechoslovakia. During the Second World War, she hid the young Jewish poet Jindřich Heisler and created impressive cycles of drawings in order to capture the horror of the time. Together, she and Jindřich created the Artificialism movement, combining painter and poet. In 1934, Toyin became one of the founders of the Czech Surrealist movement, and in 1948, she came to Paris to join André Breton and his Surrealist group. Beginning on Friday, March 25th, Toyin's work will be on display at the Paris Museum of Modern Art in a retrospective titled Toyin l'écart absolu, or Absolute Deviation. You'll discover 150 works, including paintings, drawings, collages, and books from museums and private collections, presented in a 5-part journey. Toyin l'écart absolu will be at the Musée d'Art Moderne de Paris from Friday, March 25th through Sunday, July 24th, and more information can be found at mam.paris.fr. If you're looking for a nightcap after your day of surrealistic art, perhaps you'd like to head to the Musée de l'Orangerie for an exclusive after-hours visit of the Décor Impressionniste exhibit. I spoke more about this exhibit in the episode for the week of February 27th through March 5th, so check back there for more details. What you need to know now is that the Orangerie will be open on Friday, March 25th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and more information can be found at musée-orangerie.fr. That's musee-orangerie.fr. Does this week have room for one more festival? Why, yes, it does. The Japan Connection Festival is the first festival dedicated to contemporary Japan and will be at La Gaieté Lyrique on Saturday, March 26th and Sunday, March 27th. You'll find concerts, DJ sets, and digital arts all created around Japanese electroculture, from late 1970s technopop to today. But that's not all. You'll also find a selection of Japanese chefs with delicacies ranging from Japanese street food to a sake bar. There will be talks and screenings in the auditorium, and on the ground floor, the Japanese Connection Festival is hosting a village free of charge, which includes a flea market, exhibitors, activities, and workshops on the themes of spirituality and expertise. The Japan Connection Festival will be at the Gaieté Lyrique on March 26th and 27th, and more information, including ticketing and programming, can be found at gaieté-lyrique.net. That's GAITE-LYRIQUE.net. Okay, one last way to save the world. Earth Hour. On Saturday, March 26th, this global event is back for its 15th edition. For 1 hour, people, public authorities, cities, and businesses will turn off their lights to fight against climate change. On the initiative of the WWF, nearly 1 billion people in more than 4,000 cities are invited to make this symbolic gesture. So, on March 26th, from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., Paris will turn off the exterior lighting of more than 300 buildings, including the Arc de Triomphe, Sacre Coeur, the Opéra Bastille, and the Hôtel de Ville de Paris. And you are invited to do the same. Well, that's it for this week's roundup of Don't Miss This. I hope this week treats you well. If you enjoyed this roundup, please tell a friend. If you venture out to any of the events mentioned in this podcast, please let me know and tag Paris Underground Radio on Facebook or Instagram. And if you think you have an event we should know about, please feel free to email me at hello@parisundergroundradio.com with the subject line, Don't Miss This. I'm your host, Jennifer Garrity. You can find me on all socials at Jennyphoria, JENNYPHORIA. Don't Miss This is produced by me for Paris Underground Radio. For more on Don't Miss This and shows like it, please go to parisundergroundradio.com. Thank you so much for listening, and happy exploring! Don't Miss This is produced by Jennifer Garrity for Paris Underground Radio. For more on this show and shows like it, please go to parisundergroundradio.com.